Today we are going to be solving systems of equations by substitution. So yesterday we solved by elimination whenever x's and y's are all lined up. Elimination makes sense. And x's and y's are lined up here as well. However, substitution is a good method for this problem because we have a variable by itself. Here we have y equals 5x minus 10. But y also equals 3x plus 8. So what we're going to end up doing is taking this expression here, 5x minus 10, which is what y is, and I'm going to substitute it in for y in the equation below. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. I've got 5x minus 10 equals 3x plus 8. So I can go ahead and solve by just doing some opposite operations, bringing constants to one side. So I'm adding the 10 to both sides. And then I'll subtract this 3x from both sides. So now I've got 2x equals 18. So all I have to do is divide by 2, and that gives me my value of x. So in this case, x equals 9. To find out what y is, I'm going to take that 9 and substitute it. Put it in place of the x in one of the equations above. I'm going to put it in for this bottom equation. That'll give me my y value. So y equals 3 times by 9 plus 8. So 3 and 9 multiply to make 27 plus 8 gives me 35. So there it is. Y is 35 when x is 9. What this is a point where these two lines end up crossing. It's the point of intersection. Well, this is another good one for substitution. So in this case, we're going to take this value of x. So again, I use substitution whenever I have x or when I have y by itself. Take that expression and put it in place of an x below. So what I've got now is a 1/2 multiplied by the value of x, because I want half of x. Well, x equals 2y plus 10. And then I just rewrite that rest of the equation. So I'm distributing the 1/2 over this sum. So 1/2 of 2 is just y. Half of 10 is 5. And minus the 2y equals 4. Notice the y's are on the same side of the equal sign. So I can move the 5 to the other side of the equal sign by doing an opposite operation. But with the y's, I'm just collecting those two. So I'm adding them together. In this case, I'm subtracting because they're opposite in sign. I end up with a negative y equals a negative 1. So you divide or multiply by a negative, and that will cancel out the negative sign in front of our variable y, leaving us with y equals 1. You're taking that 1 and substituting it in place of y, probably in that top equation, to solve for x. So x equals 2 times by 1 plus 10. 2 and 1 make 2 plus 10 gives me 12. So that's what x is. So 12, 1 is the point where the two lines cross. Well, where do we use this stuff? Well, we use it on problems like this, where it talks about a family, the Lee family, is deciding between two lawn care companies. Green Lawn charges $49 setup fee or startup fee plus $29 per month. Whenever you see the word per or each, typically this is going to be our variable, but we'd have to go to the question. Here's the question. In how many months? Yes, they want to know the number of months. We don't know the number of months. That's our unknown. So M we'll call our unknown. So what we have is Green Lawn. They charge $29 every month. So 29 times the number of months plus $49. Grass Team, the other company, charges a $25 setup fee, so it's less, but they end up charging more per month. So whenever you see the word each is just like per, means how many months. Each month they're going to charge that number, that $37. So 37 times by the number of months is going to equal Grass Team's equation. So what they want to know is, in how many months will the two lawn care companies charge the same? So you're going to set these two equations equal to each other. You're basically going to say, when is GL, grass or Green Lawn, equal to Grass Team? And you're just going to take those expressions that represent each company and set them equal to each other. So 29M plus 49 equals 37M plus 25. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit more work. So we're just moving terms from one side to the other. So here I'll subtract this 25 from both sides. And I'll also subtract the 29m from both sides. And now I'm just about ready to solve. So go ahead and do some subtraction here. I end up with a 24 equals, do the subtraction here, I end up with, looks like an 8m. And so 8 plus that 29 gives me 37, so that does end up working out. So I go ahead and now do the subtraction, or division. Divide by 8 on both sides, that gives me 3 months. So after 3 months, they'll charge the same. But that's not the only question they want. They also want, what will the cost be? Well, all you have to do is substitute 3 back into one of these equations. Let's put it into grass teams. Doesn't matter which one, either one will give us the same amount. So 37 times by 3 plus 25. So when I multiply these two, I get 21, carry a 2. 9 and 2 make 11, and then add the 25. So you add those numbers together, you end up with $137. So after 3 months, they are going to both charge $137. Well, let's say you only want the service for 2 months. Which one would you go with? Well, the one that is cheaper to start with, which is Grass Team. Grass Team's cheaper to start with. Their initial charge is less. But if you want it longer than 3 months, Green Lawn's cheaper because they charge less per month. So that's the solving systems. Now we're moving back to more review. It's determining whether a point is on a line. And so let's take a look at this one. It says, is the point on the graph the function below? Well, you're just going to take your x value, put that in for x over here. Take your y value, put that in for y over here, and see if it equals 17. So we have 3 times by 3 minus 2 times by negative 4. See if it equals 17 or not. Well, these two numbers multiply to make 9. These two multiply to make a positive 8 because of the signs, the same sign, so they end up having to add or multiply and it becomes positive. Well, just so happens 9 and 8 do add to make 17. So when the two numbers agree, you say yes, the point is on the line. The next problem is asking us to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So the first thing we need is the point-slope formula. So here's our point-slope formula, and we'll be able to substitute some information into this formula. So we know what the slope is. The slope's negative 1/2. That goes in for m. And the y-intercept, oh, they just give us the y-intercept. And so here we don't even need this formula because we already have the y-intercept here. But let's say they did this. Let's go ahead and modify this problem here a little bit, make it a little bit more challenging. Let's say they give us a point. Let's say the point is, we'll go with let's do a 4, negative 2. So let's try to write an equation in slope-intercept form. Now we're changing this problem here. We just say it goes through this point. So let's take our x value, and that's 4, and we're going to put this in place of x1. So I'm going to put it right there. Let's take our y value, negative 2, and let's put it in place of y1. Just make the problem a little bit more challenging. It's more similar to what you'll see on tonight's homework. And so now we've got y minus, and we're putting negative 2 in place of that y1, equals the slope, so negative 1/2 times by x minus 4. So remember, anytime you get that minus negative, change that right away to plus positive, and now distribute. So we distribute that negative 1/2 over this subtraction. We get negative 1/2 x and a positive 2. Half of 4 makes 2. So you just have one step here. We're just going to end up subtracting the 2 from all sides, and we end up with our answer. Y equals negative 1/2 x. Plus 0 you could write down, or just negative 1/2 x. Well, let's take a look at our next problem here. This one is similar to this, but we need to first find the slope of the line. So we're going to start with our slope formula, which goes y minus y1 over x minus x1. So we've got to take the difference of the y values. I'll start with this point, 4 minus 6. Now, on the bottom, I've got to start with the negative 2. So negative 2 minus negative 1. Make sure you have minus negative. A lot of people forget that, and then they'll end up with the wrong number. So I'm going to add the opposite here. Add the opposite. And so what I've got now is a negative 2 all over negative 1. So that just reduces down to positive 2, because the negative signs end up canceling out. So you take one of the points. I'm going to use this point right here, and we're going to put it into the point slope formula, just like we did on the last problem. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we do that substitution. Here's what we get. Y minus, and then I've got my y1 value, which is 4, equals my slope, which is 2, times my x minus negative 2. And so from that point, all I'm going to end up doing is distribute that 2 over this addition. Now it's addition because I'm going to add the opposite. So now I have y minus 4 equals 2x plus 4. So all I have is just one step here. I'm just going to end up adding this 4 to both sides. And I end up with this answer. Y equals 2x plus 8. There is our answer. So those are the types of problems you'll see on tonight's homework.